Every human being has rights. The acknowledgement of this principle is one of the reasons that America is a great nation. But what happens if those rights, freely exercised, could potentially hurt others? On December 2nd, 2015, a terrorist attack occurred in San Bernardino, leaving 15 dead and 22 seriously injured. These attacks were linked back to 2 individuals and an iPhone. Presently, there is a serious debate taking place between the heads of Apple and the FBI to decide whether or not there should be software that enables one to have access to another's iPhone. Given the current issues that recently transpired, it is clear that Apple should disclose sensitive information for the welfare and protection of U.S. citizens. Presently, there is a huge debate over the rights of U.S. citizens and the climate of national security. This debate is fully realized by the recent and tragic San Bernardino shooting. At first, this attack, like so many others, was chalked up to a terrible shooting, but when investigated further, authorities were enlightened to something much worse. The shooters were linked back to Islamic terrorist organizations, and the execution of their plan had been in motion for a long period of time. This has left the FBI with a difficult task of trying to find a way to prevent future attacks, such as the one in San Bernardino. However, they have hit a wall in the process. The biggest issue, and one of the most troubling, is that information regarding other attacks and other assailants could be hidden on an iPhone, particularly the iPhone of the shooters in San Bernardino. Hiding information and secretly planning attacks is one of the biggest allies for those seeking to do others harm. The ability to hide information and secretly plan attacks is a huge issue in this debate, and currently there is no way for the FBI to find out more information about this attack and any other attacks in the future. With this difficult task and this current troubling situation, it is clear that the FBI must take drastic measures to bring about change in the status quo. The FBI is led to believe that the San Bernardino shooters hold very important information on their iPhones. The FBI must work with Apple to develop software that enables access through the privacy protection software of the iPhone. This software would make it possible for the FBI to find out more information about the shooting and could very well prevent other attacks from happening in the future. Critics of the development of this software argue that it is a violation of U.S. citizens' right to privacy and that it contradicts the Fourth Amendment. Along with this notion is the fear that the government could become too big and potentially too intrusive. To this side of the argument, I would say that the overall well-being and protection of society supersedes that of the individual. You see, 37 people's lives could have been different if the government was able to detect the beginning of the San Bernardino shooting. When the Founding Fathers wrote the Constitution, when they wrote the amendments, including the Fourth Amendment, I doubt that at that time they could foresee a day where any individual could communicate with someone from across the globe. If they had this extensive knowledge, I am certain that their ideals on national security would have been different. That their ideals on privacy and rights to privacy would have been different. Oftentimes, it may take great sacrifice to make our lives as Americans safer. If the FBI is able to work with Apple and develop software that can gain access to iPhones, It will give them access to the phones of those involved with shootings and enable them to seek out and stop any future attacks on American citizens. The current climate of national security depends on such access. Access to iPhones and secret planning will create a safer future. Although sacrifice is required, this decision will prove beneficial for citizens and will create a safer society as a whole.